So, good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'm here with a few more important things where you can develop your communication skills. So, few tips that if you practice it regularly, it will be easy um, to talk fluently. So, communication. So, we Indians being English, learning English as a second language, we always have a hesitation taking it in the case of our students. If we ask, do you speak English, so few may answer yes and few may not. They will be thinking whether they will be able to talk fluently. So how to talk fluently? So there are few things, few tips that if you practice regularly, anything can be done. So learning English as a second language, if we practice it regularly, it will be easy to be fluent enough. So, now talking about developing your communication skill in English, LSRW skills. So, listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Yes, these are the four skills that we have in English. So, English, so developing a language skill, these four steps are very important. Yes, listening is like it is the ability to decode the meaning of anything that we listen, okay? And reading, again, ability to decode the meaning of a written material. So whatever we read, we understand. Whatever we listen, we understand. Yes. So then writing is the ability to encode the thoughts and concept into a written form. Yes, whatever we had listened, we have read, we are encoding, we are making like we are putting into our words, writing form. Yes. Then speaking, ability to encode, again we are encoding, yes, into our own words, the thoughts and concept, like into a oral form. So in this 4 LSRW, so reading and listening will be a passive skill. So where in these two process, we will not have any difficulty because it is a passive skill. So I read, yes I understand, okay, and I listen to someone, yes I understand. We all understand, but in the case of replying, when we are like to be active, we have some difficulties. So what are they? Yeah, so listening and reading are passive skill. So it is basically about understanding what it is. So there we don't have any problem. So coming to writing and speaking, so writing and speaking are called as active skills. So what do we do in this? So we have read, we have listened, and I'm putting those things into my own words. I'm writing. Okay, so there in the writing part, we have to concentrate. Yes, so writing is also like quite easy if we see. So whereas because it is not spontaneous, yes, we have time to process the idea. I have time to process my idea while I write. Yes, so that is also quite easy comparatively. When we are speaking, we don't have that much time to think. Okay, so writing is also quite easy. So we can take our own time to connect our thought, the thought process into words. So there is a synchronization between what we think and how it comes as a word. Yes, so writing is that. And so actively we should be very active in it because we are like giving it back. So speaking, if you take another, again it is encoding. So it is a very quick process comparing the other three. So that is listening and reading are passive, whereas writing I have few time where I can take to like think what word can I use. Yes, for the process I have time, whereas speaking it is a quick process. So where I cannot think for a long time, in that case, if I take a long time to think and reply, so there we lack. Yes, so they mean that we are not good in communication. So what is the problem in speaking? So if you see there, so it is a practice, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, whatever level. we reach. Yes, so the fluency of speaking, you can put it in different stages. So there, like what actually we should do is, so the mind, the thought process when we speak should be only in English. Okay, there are two processes of thought process. One is translation method, another one is just thinking in the native language, that is the original, the English. Okay, we should always think in English. So when, what happens if you translate it? So my mother tongue is something. Okay, if I translate and try to speak, that is not correct. Okay, we should always think in English before speaking. The synchronization should be there. Your mind and your voice should be synchronized. What I think in English, only then I can speak in English. Whereas if you use the translation method, that will be very difficult to be very fluent in English. So always before you talk, you always think in English. Okay, in this slide you can see something where I've mentioned, so input and output. Yes, listening, input, I read, I understand. As I told you, reading, listening, both are input. We understand. Okay, we understand and we gain some ideas or knowledge. So output, speaking and writing, is my own ideas I am putting in my own words in another language. So there comes these difficulties. So if you practice it regularly, okay, how to practice it? Sorry. So listening skill. So in listening skill, as I told you, we understand. How we understand? With quite a few observations, we understand it, everyone, because this English we are learning it as a language for the past so many years from school onwards. So we don't have problem in understanding. The problem is writing and speaking. So if you see the writing and speaking practices, so in writing, like you have few sentence structure, you have to follow says like few rules, the grammar rules. So there we have a difficulty because it is not our own language, it is a second language, we are learning it. Okay, so and we always, for example, you are about 18 years, so how many hours of these years you have been talking in English? Yes, so if we calculate, most of the time, maybe 80 to 85%, even sometimes 90% of the time, we speak only a mother tongue. We use mother tongue. The rest of the time, that 10% will not help us in mastering the language, any language. So we need practice. We should be surrounded by the language what we are learning. So that will make us easy. We'll think in English. Yes, it will be easy for us to like put it in a format. So now, so vocabulary is another important thing. You should learn words. Just by learning words and its meaning will not help. Again, what to be done? So learn new words. So learning words will help you in fluency. Yes, you will not stop. Why do we stop? Because we are searching of words. That is why we stop. So in case you are very good at vocabulary, you will not stop. Okay, so you will be continuous. There will be a flow in your language. So practice will make anyone to master the skill. So you should practice vocabulary, you should learn more words, learn the contextual meaning of it, the usage of it, where to use, how to use, what it is, whether it is a noun, whether it is a verb, so and so. Yes, and you have to practice. Learning will not make it easy. You have to practice it. Yes. So then, learning of vocabulary, that is words, is one essential thing, and another thing is grammar, the sentence structure. You should know that also. So writing, taking a writing skill, grammatical sentence structure should be very clear and without errors and without spelling mistakes. Okay, So these things are very important in writing. Whereas in speaking, vocabulary, use of words, sounds, pronunciation is very important. So grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation and fluency. These are the four things. So where if you master these things, you will not have any difficulty in speaking English. Yes. So the last slide, the four speaking skills. Okay, vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation and fluency. Yes. If you master in these things, how to master in these things? That is another question. Yes. So fluency, as I told you, by practice you can get it. Vocabulary, reading more and more books. Not only books, anything, magazines, newspapers, or whatever it is, even through listening. So these two passive skills, reading and reading and listening. So there we get this vocabulary. Yes, you listen more, you come to know about so many new words, and you read more again. So how to make this possible? So just spend 10 minutes a day. One day you can listen for 10 minutes something in English, and one day you can read for 10 minutes something in English. Yes, so that you will come across new words. Just like don't memorize it, understand the exact meaning, usage of it, and then put it in use. Okay, that is how you can build your vocabulary. So if you are good at vocabulary, fluency is not a matter, it will be easy. And grammar, the sentence structure. The sentence structure, if you compare the sentence structure of your language and the native English, there is a different structure. It's not the same. So if you understand the English grammar sentence structure, it will be easy for you. If you understand it, it will be easy for you. Yes, pronunciation, how to pronounce a word. So comparing the other languages, English is like a like language of sounds, they say. Okay, so how to pronounce it, the pronunciation of the each letter, the sound of each letter, if it is correct, and if you know how it should be pronounced, so you will not have any problem in pronunciation also. So these are the four things. So these four things, to gain these four things, if you just put few effort and practice it regularly, you will not have any difficulty in speaking. Yes, so these are the four simple things that if you put it into practice regularly, you will be very good at communicating in English.